Final week stress is upon us, but there are things that will help us cope.
Social media can make us feel connected, even as we're becoming disconnected.
And if you think working in the media is easy, we'll take you behind the scenes at KUNM and the Albuquerque Journal.
And we'll preview some nice Christmas presents. I'm Natalia Jácquez.
And I'm Andrea Mitchell, and this is UNM News. Not everyone will be feeling the warmth of family this holiday. With the U.S. House of Representatives' failure to press forward on immigration reform, some activists have taken to fasting to spur local political action. The fasters held a vigil in downtown Albuquerque to light a fire, or at least a candle, under Congress. Fabioli Baden's brother was deported last month, so she'll miss him over the holidays.
I want to ask how congressmen, congresswomen feel about they having all his family together, having a big dinner for Thanksgiving or Christmas. How do I feel about people being alone, or kids without mom or dad, waiting or hoping for something happen and they can be together again.
Baden and others were fasting in solidarity with those around the country who are engaging in longer fasts.
In November, members of the UNM Dream Team used poetry and creativity to express themselves on the issue of immigration. They call themselves the Dream Team in support of those immigrants who were brought into the United States as children and are now undocumented. Bárbara Gómez filed this report on their Noche de Cultura.
It's funny how you say I should change myself without giving me a chance to explain myself.
Xavier Garner was one of the dozens of performers at Noche de Cultura, a day-long teaching event at the UNM Student Union building.
I will fight for equality till the day I die. My voice is power, but a nation makes a stronger impact.
Another UNM student, majoring in bilingual education, Eunice Tegel, said that the event was a forum for exchanging perspectives on immigration issues.
We are an immigrant community that needs a space to talk about our issues, that needs a space to talk about all the work that we're doing and also to express ourselves, because we don't only do social work, but we also have a lot of art and a lot of stories that need to be shared.
Talk about the murders when we murder societies.
Omar Torres, a mechanical engineering major, said that these kinds of artistic events are good ways to raise social awareness.
When you're analyzing things in a very academic way, it's very kind of logical without emotions. And then when people hear it through a poetry, it becomes emotional. It's a problem, but it has an emotion to it. And everybody has emotions, so that drives people to look at things in a different way, and it attaches people to reality. It puts a face to the problem, or an emotion to the problem.
For Tegel, poetry and art lend her community a sense of strength and unity.
Because it's a way to put it all together. We believe that it gives us just good vibes, and it's good to put our hearts out there.
We desire a teacher who inspires and lights fires inside us and supplies us with the truth even if it hurts us.
Tegel, along with members of the UNM Dream Team, said that they are planning to host other poetry and creative writing workshops to promote social issues and immigrant rights beyond UNM. This is Bárbara Gómez reporting.
We're now joined by Bárbara Gómez, who has investigated the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Hello, Bárbara. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Could you please tell us what DACA is?
Well, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals is a policy that was implemented by President Obama back in summer 2012. The policy allows undocumented students to stay in the country without fear of being deported for 2 years. And it also helps them get a social security number to get a job.
And what are the requirements?
First of all, they have to have arrived to the U.S. before 2007. They have to have arrived to the U.S. before they turn 16 years old. And then they have to be currently at a school. They have to be at any degree, or they have to be to have a high school diploma or obtain a GED. They also, if they have committed a crime or a felony, they might not be eligible to apply.
Okay. And how do they apply?
Well, first of all, they have to meet all the requirements. There are more requirements with more specific dates, so you can check that in the USCIS website. But they also have to send applications and, along with a $465 fee.
Wow, that's a pretty large sum. I want to thank you for coming in today and talking to us.
Sure.
How do students prepare for holidays? By finishing term papers and taking finals, of course. But what could be more fun? Rebecca Merrick has some tips on how students can manage those final weeks of the semester.
These are the study rooms at Zimmerman Library, a place that most UNM students call home during finals week. Finals week can be the most daunting time for any college student. Most find themselves wired on caffeine and sugar, trying to cram the night before something is due.
Finals week is my least favorite time out of the semester.
However, there are ways to make the week more bearable. As student Hannah Braun notes, it is important to schedule plenty of sleep time into your hectic schedule.
I like to make sure that I have enough time to rest because sometimes I think about staying up all night and pulling an all-nighter so I can finish my work, but in the end it's never really worth it because my grades will always suffer.
Sleep is a key to study success. A 2010 study by Harvard researcher Robert Stickgold suggested that dreaming may reactivate and reorganize recently learned material, which can help improve memory and boost performance. So make sure to get plenty of sleep and even allow yourself to hit the snooze button every once in a while. Senior Veronica Deeds says prioritizing can help keep you calm when working in overdrive.
I like to stay organized when I study, but I think it's important to take breaks while you study, so I like to take like 15 minutes out and just play with my cat.
If you make sure to have a plan of attack when it comes to studying, and make sure to pencil in some downtime for yourself, you'll be able to ace those finals without the stress. This is Rebecca Merrick reporting.
If school seems tough, students can always dream about how life will get easier once they've landed their dream job. Or maybe not. William Aranda reports on the life of a photographer at the Albuquerque Journal.
The Albuquerque Journal has been in business since 1880 and remains the largest newspaper for the state of New Mexico. One important element to this newspaper are the photojournalists who provide us with images of everyday life.
As photojournalists, we are storytellers, but we use images to tell those stories, to inform the public and capture reality.
Adolphe Pierre-Louis has worked for the Journal since 1990, becoming a staff photographer in 1995. He says days at the Journal change constantly with all the different assignments he takes.
One day I may just come into work and I have like 3 assignments, for example. My first assignment might be a restaurant review. I'll go to a restaurant and photograph, the scenery there, the ambiance. You try to capture the ambiance, the food, and my second assignment might be to go shoot a portrait of an executive.
Journal photo editor Morgan Petrosky says that working there can get stressful.
Daily life here at the Journal is pretty hectic. Some days, well, I should say actually it's pretty unpredictable. Some days it's very hectic, some days it's pretty calm. Most days it's very last minute.
She also says reporters and photographers handle their jobs differently.
Whereas a lot of times a reporter can make a phone call and sometimes get the same information, but photographers really have to be there to get the photo.
One of the biggest stories that Pierre-Louis has covered for the Journal was the earthquake that struck Haiti, his home country, 3 years ago.
That was the biggest story of my life because when I came back, throughout the whole trip, I kept a journal on what I was seeing with my eyes, what I was feeling, witnessing the devastation there. And it's a life-changing experience.
It is because of this line of work that Pierre-Louis has hobbies outside of the Journal to balance everything out.
I do triathlons, so I'm constantly training. I swim, I bike, I run, I go to the gym. I'm a musician also, so It's important to have those kind of, outlets.
So what do they both have to say about their jobs?
In a way, it's a tough job, because as a photographer, as a witness, you try to block your emotions by using the camera as a shield between your personal feelings and what's going on in front of you.
This job is really a 24/7 job. I think it's kind of what we do as journalists. We're always tapped in. We always know what's going on. Even if it's not when we're technically on shift, we know what's happening in the city. We have to know. It's our jobs.
Something that both of them have accepted into their lives.
The reality of a job, any job, is that you're going to have things that are challenges to you and things that aren't, and the challenges really will end up being the things, I guess, that define what you do.
To me, we should not take anything for granted here in this country, because we have the First Amendment, thank God for that. And as journalists, we have a serious job to do. We are there to inform the public and let them make their own decision.
And so the photographers of the Albuquerque Journal are willing to work very hard to provide viewers with that moment captured in time. This is William Aranda reporting.
Millennials love their social media. Whether it's self-promotion or pure entertainment, it helps us stay in touch and stay connected. Richard Anaya reports that some millennials and even some baby boomers struggle to use the medium wisely.
Today, I had...
As online communities continue to grow in population, so does the trickling of inappropriate behaviors and the Doppler effect of misinterpretations. Does Facebook need a filter? Social media on the internet seems to be the biggest experiment with anarchy since the dawn of technology. The ability to just post whatever, whenever, has displayed its flaws in recent headlines. From simple jokes to cyberbullying, the perceptions are just so diverse.
I think it's getting a little too big. I think there's too many people on it, and it's making people a lot less sociable, like face-to-face.
I don't really have the time to sit at home and watch the news, so I really rely on online sources, especially Facebook, because it's very instantaneous.
The maximum exposure of these online communities allow us to share our most intimate details with the rest of the world, and disagreements can sometimes be blown way out of proportion.
Eggs were just a little bit overdone, but...
I just got in an enormous fight with one of my best friends, and I've since blocked her on all social media from multiple accounts. I've deleted every picture of us together, and it's not out of being upset or bitter, it's just I don't want any reminder because I just don't trust this person anymore.
If you post something, my parents always go through my Facebook, and if I post anything they don't like, they'll punish me for that, but I haven't done that yet, so.
Media professor Neil Unkefer.
Will there be new skills, both sender, receiver, and observer, to interpret what's going on online?
Truth is that it all comes down to personal choice when you use social media, and what you post should reflect on who you really are. This is Richard Anaya reporting.
As well as wheat toast with butter and raspberry jelly.
All right, we turn again to the mass media, and this time to KUNM, the UNM licensed community radio station that features drive time news programming. Mariam Ajala found out that student interns will have to wait their turn to turn a phrase on air.
KUNM's host of All Things Considered, Rita Daniels, says she had to volunteer and do a lot of work for free while she was in college. And volunteering is a great way to become a public radio journalist.
I think it's pretty easy if that's what you want and you persevere. And you're willing to do something, like work very hard for no money for a while, then I think it's easy.
Public health reporter Tristan Artone started out as a volunteer for a year. He says working just to gain experience is necessary because the job market is highly competitive and students need experience to get that first job.
I mean, in journalism, as you probably know, you work for free a lot, or you try to avoid it as much as possible, but, you have to volunteer. We have not been able to pay our interns, no, and hopefully that will change, though, so.
Not being paid for journalism work is clearly one of the downsides for student volunteers, and getting airtime is another challenge. Andy Lehman, C&J student from UNM, says it wasn't until a year after he started volunteering that he was finally able to read on the air.
Somebody came and talked to our class from KUNM, and it just got me more interested in it. It was something I was always interested in as a kid. To begin with, what I did was what they call a cut and copy. It refers to the cut is the clip, so you basically get a soundbite from somebody and then just write the copy. And you don't read it on air. It generally just goes for somebody else to read. So in that sense, it was pretty easy to get my work on the air. But it wasn't like I didn't have a byline, so to speak. It wasn't like here's a story by Andy Lyman.
Public radio reporters say they want to air volunteers' work as much as possible. But most students need lots of practice before their work is airworthy.
I think there is sometimes this desire from the student's point of view that if they're going to come and volunteer or do a work-study exchange or something like that, that they want to right away, like within their first week or two, be on air producing radio. And unfortunately, that's really not how it works, because first you have to learn how, some more basic tasks.
Christine Trudeau, a student intern from American Indian Arts University, Santa Fe, says she has been volunteering for KUNM since January. She appreciates all the help she's received from the news team.
Okay, well, the staff are great. It's a really small and tight-knit community, and it was easy to get to know everybody really well, really quickly. It's a very open and inviting atmosphere. And I picked it up right away.
While students may have to work for months without pay, it is clear that volunteering while studying for a degree is the best way to get a job with KUNM or any other broadcast news outlets. This is Mariam Ajala reporting.
And now for the toys, the new toys of Christmas. Nick Salazar takes a look at the 2 latest gaming consoles.
If you're one of millions of Americans searching for a Christmas gift for a loved one this year, you may notice there's something a little different on the Christmas list this year. There are not 1, but 2 new consoles released this year. One from Microsoft, the Xbox One, and the Sony PlayStation 4. But which one is right for you, and which one fits within your budget? Let's start with Microsoft's Xbox One.
Microsoft's latest console starts at $499 and is bundled with the Kinect sensor, which allows the system to be controlled with both hand gestures and voice commands. Xbox, go to Dead Rising 3. Dead Rising 3, a Microsoft exclusive, promises to allow players to kill hundreds, if not thousands of enemies. Killer Instinct, another launch title for the Xbox One, is a free-to-play game that allows players to access one player at a time, depending on how much they pay for. That's not all the Xbox One can do. You can also control
Xbox,
your TV.
watch TV.
With your voice. All through the power of Kinect. Now, the PlayStation 4 starts at a lower $399. It also offers a speedy interface, as well as exclusives such as DC Universe Online, Contrast, and Killzone Shadowfall. But perhaps its most interesting game is an indie game called Resogun, which is a free game for anyone who subscribes to the company's PlayStation Plus service. Now, while the PlayStation 4 is undeniably thinner and smaller than the Xbox One, there's no denying that they are both great video game consoles.
But no matter what you choose this holiday season, you're guaranteed to get a great console in either one. It just depends on your preferences, how much money you're willing to spend, and what games you want. This has been Nick Salazar reporting.
For those who might prefer a good book to an awesome game score, UNM alum Brian J. Jones recently visited New Mexico to promote his book on Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets. I went to Page One Bookstores to report on his arrival. Brian J. Jones wrote the first biography on Washington Irving and now has accomplished another first in the literature world, writing the first biography on the Muppets creator, Jim Henson.
Some of those guys that I was really interested in, that I knew about, I loved the behind-the-scenes stuff, but, didn't really ever think, well, geez, wouldn't it be great to write his biography at that time?
The author says the Henson family was first reluctant to let him write the book.
The tipping point on that one was I finally said, well, you guys are a Hollywood family, so let me give you an audition tape.
After visiting the Library of Congress and digging through piles of information, Jones had something to show.
I wrote a sample chapter just based on that information, kind of information that was in plain sight, and sent that to them and just said, this is the way I work, this is, the kind of narrative I like to do.
Jones says that explaining some of the tough chapters in the biography to the Henson family wasn't easy.
I came to this conclusion because these three people said this, so I was really careful about that. But that was really tough because, again, it's hard to see a stranger describing your own life to you in third person.
Jones says he was part of Muppets Generation 1.0, as was Kermit the Frog.
Sure, the first Kermit was not Kermit the Frog, it was Kermit the Thing. And it was built from Jim's mother's coat. Jim was one of these people that was always using found objects to build puppets.
Lifelong fan of the Muppets and Page One employee, Chris Christinger, says he can still remember having family dinners while watching the Muppets.
Probably the coolest thing about it is that you can randomly open up on any page and there's something interesting that was going on with Jim.
And although it's not easy being green or dealing with Cookie Monster and others on Sesame Street, Jim Henson's legacy of family entertainment has kept generations of viewers interested. Now those fans will have insight on who the man behind the Muppets was. For UNM News, I'm Natalia Jácquez.
And finally, Early-Ray Mixon reports on the day the big tree came to town.
Patriotic sentiment mixed with holiday cheer when the approximately 80-foot tree visited Albuquerque as one of several stops before reaching its final destination.
This Capitol Christmas tree will go to the United States Capitol lawn. We're taking 20 days to make 22 stops along the way.
Albuquerqueans, young and old, came to put their mark on the gigantic tree.
I'm retired from the Forest Service and have seen probably every Capitol Christmas tree for the last 15 years.
I've never heard of it before, so it's cool over here.
Free refreshments, live music, and fun photo opportunities brought the magic of the holiday season. Festive figure everyone was glad to see was old St. Nick, who felt the tree to be an important symbol of the holidays.
You see, without a tree, there would be no Christmas here. So this representates of the biggest tree in all of the United States going to the most wonderful place on earth, our nation's capital.
The local community came together to celebrate the tree's arrival. Even the mayor showed up to greet the evergreens.
We've got all the families with the kids here. We've got our firefighters, our first responders. We've got a gentleman here from the Navy. The Boy Scouts are here. The mariachis are playing. It's a great day.
Bears and owls and toys and tots and Coco and Santa all gathered around that great old Christmas tree, and it seemed, for a moment, to be more than a tree. It seemed as though the holiday spirit had come to life in the town of Albuquerque. This is Early-Ray Mixon wishing you happy holidays.
All right, Andrea, I think that's all we've got for tonight, but what will you be doing with the rest of your night?
I think I'm just going to go home and start wrapping some presents, get the Christmas season started.
That sounds great. I think I'll do the same. I'm Natalia Jácquez.
And I'm Andrea Mitchell.